Yo, what's going on, guys? Clutch back again with another video for you guys, and today it is going to be another insane tactics video for you guys. If you do enjoy this video, please smash the like button. It helps push the video a ton and it helps me out a lot, and it will be much appreciated. If you do have any questions down below, anything about competing, foot champs, any questions about FIFA, let me know down in the comments. And also, if you haven't already, please smash that sub button. If you want to win every game like me, visit MMOEXP's link in the description to get the cheapest and safest coins on FC24 and use code CLUTCH at checkout for 5% off. It's a different one. We haven't used this one yet, but I've had a lot of people in the comments asking for the 4-3-3. So it is a version of the 4-3-3. In my opinion, it's the best version of the 4-3-3. It is the 4-3-3-4. So again, this is going to be the best way to use it in my personal opinion. I think just attacking and being aggressive with this is the best way to use it. So this is how we're going to run it. So defensive style is on pressure on heavy touch. Again, as we do have so many players high up the pitch, we don't have any CDMs or anything like that. It does mean we're going to have 6 bodies in their pitch. And also with the 71 depth as well, we're playing a high line. So it does mean that we are trying to win the ball back as high as possible. But the reason why I've used pressure on heavy touch compared to maybe a press after possession loss is because of stamina, and also just the way they press is a bit better with a pressure on heavy touch, and I'll explain what that means. Basically, when you use pressure on heavy touch, they only press when they believe that maybe a player's made a bad touch, or they've made a bad pass, or they've turned the wrong way. Basically, when the AI looks at a situation and goes, okay, this is a position where they're vulnerable, they'll press the ball. So I find it helps a lot with the AI kind of getting involved, and it means that you lose less stamina, and your players just don't run around like headless chickens all game, especially when you're trying to defend. Now, width is on 45. Obviously, we've spoken about this before. If you've been on the channel, we all know what this is for. It is to make sure those fullbacks tuck in and we don't concede any silly through balls. If you played FC24, you'd have conceded so many through balls and so many goals to people playing a pass in between your fullback and your centre back, because the player switching is difficult. They've obviously removed a lot of the AI help. It's a lot more manual, and it makes it so much harder to defend. And 45 width just makes it that little bit easier. Now, depth is on 71. The depth is on 71 mainly because of how good it is on new gen as well, especially, but it is also still good on old gen. I use it, and I majority of the time play old gen because that's what I prefer playing. But 71 depth is still very good. What it does, basically, they've changed depth this year, so it helps you to press the ball. So that means we're going to be playing a high line whilst also pressing the ball in an organised way, which is why I believe it kind of goes hand in hand with pressure and heavy touch, where we're not just running around like headless chickens. We're actually trying to press in a certain way just to try and make sure we can score those goals. Now, build-up play is on fast build-up. Again, as we do have the left wing, right wing, we've got the centre mid, cam, striker. We've got so many bodies going forward that when we do win that ball, we can get a lot of good overloads on if we are moving up the pitch as quick as possible. And for me, fast build-up is the one that does it. What it does, it basically just pushes all of your players forward when you do get the ball. Obviously, it does mean you can then be prone to conceding counter-attacks and be a bit more open defensively. But it does mean when we are trying to attack, we'll have a lot more bodies going forward. Now, chance creation is on direct passing. If you don't know what direct passing is, you must have been living under a rock or something like that. What it basically does is it makes your players make better in behind runs, and it's just absolutely busted. If you've played FC24, you know how good the through balls are. You know how easy it is to score goals with through balls, and direct passing alongside this formation where you get so many runners, it is so good. It is just an absolute joke. So make sure you're running it. Now, my width is on 50, but honestly, I would run it on 45. I had it on 50 from when I've been trying it, but I personally preferred when I used it the first time and had it on 45 width. This is mainly just due to the fact of obviously having a left winger, right winger, and I do usually prefer my players to be a little bit more tucked in if I'm using wide men, as you would have seen from my previous videos. But obviously, I like to experiment with different things to see how it works for you guys. And like I said, the 45 width, for me, it's better. I much prefer my wingers being a bit more narrow, a bit more attacking, just making sure we don't concede any silly goals. And then players in the box is on 7. This is again because we are having the wingers attack, the striker, the cam, and also the 2 centre mids will be getting involved as well. They'll still be on certain instructions, which means they'll be a bit more defensive, but it doesn't mean that I don't want them to get involved when the opportunity arises. So yeah, simple as that really. That's why we're using 7 players in the box. And then we do have 2 corners and 2 free kicks. This is down to, again, trying to avoid conceding counter-attack goals. And also, as well, there is a very good set-piece tactic with corners where you can swing it to the back post if you play it short on a corner with the 2 corners on. Now, guys, we are going to head into the instructions. This is how I had the team laid out. Messi was at cam with our 2 box-to-box midfielders and then our 3 strong attackers as well with good attacking fullbacks. Like I said, we are trying to be attacking and on the front foot, and all these players will help that. So I will start with both of my wingers. Both of my wingers are on comeback on defence, cut inside, getting behind, getting to the box for cross. They're both on comeback on defence for 2 reasons. One, I do want them to basically defend. I want them to come back and defend and make sure we don't concede any silly goals. And it means when we are defending, we'll almost defend in almost like a 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1 kind of way, where we'll have the 3 midfielders with the 2 wide players dropping deeper. It does just mean we concede less goals, especially if we can get our players back and not get counter-attacked. It means we can be so hard to break down. But also people will look at this and go, oh well, he's on comeback on defence, that means that he can't score goals or he won't be going forward. And they couldn't be further from the truth. They'll still definitely bomb forward, get involved in the attacks and still score you a ton of goals. It just means we're being a little bit more alert about that we also need to defend as well. I do have them on cut inside, like I said earlier, in the width. I prefer my wingers to cut in. I prefer them to be a bit narrower, be a bit more involved in and around the box and try and score goals. I just find that if I don't have them on cut inside, they sit so wide and half the time they don't even really get involved. So I much prefer having them on cut inside. I do as well have them on get in behind. This is obviously mostly down to the fact of how good through balls are, really just trying to make the most of that. And it also just does encourage our players to get in better attacking positions as well, which is obviously what I spoke about as well. And then I do have them on get into the box for cross as well. This is also to do with being available for back post crosses, cutbacks. We want as many bodies in that box to try and score those tap-ins and those easy goals. Now, I do have my striker on stay central, get in behind. This is pretty self-explanatory, this one. Basically having your players in a central position, especially your strikers, that is where they can be the most dangerous. That's pretty simple. And having them on getting behind is mostly down to the fact of making them basically as good at using those through balls as possible. And with the tactics and instructions, it all comes into one to try and make kvaratskhelia, whoever your striker is, a through ball machine. And now I do have my cam on stay forward, get into the box for cross. My cam is on stay forward, 1, to make sure we don't get the glitch where our cam swaps with our centre mid, but also as well because we do want him to make those runs into the box. He almost plays like a second striker. He'll play so well going forward, and that's why it's so good to have someone like Messi who's good at passing, dribbling, shooting. Having all those attributes means that they can be so good in that cam spot. Pardon me. And then I do have them on getting to the box across as well. This is mainly down to, again, making sure they're available for cutbacks and things like that. Just being in and around the box and making sure we have as many options as possible. I do have both of my centre mids on stay but while attack and cover centre. This is because, generally speaking, I do want them to be a bit more defensive and basically protect that back line. But also, I do still want them to make attacking runs. I still want them to be involved. But it just means that having them on stay back means I can control that. So a lot of the time I may trigger their runs, or I may do an LB pass when they're on the ball to try and get them involved in the attack. I don't want the AI to force them to be involved, which is why I've got both of them on stay back while attacking cover centre. I do have both of my centre backs on default instruction, so nothing to talk about there. And then I do have both of my fullbacks on stay back while attacking overlap. I do have them both on stay back while attacking to make sure we are secure defensively, but I also have them on overlap, so when our wingers do cut inside, as in the instructions, it means that Hernandez and Scott will have a lot of space in those wide areas to overlap and be as deadly as possible and give us as many overloads as possible. And then I do have my keeper on comes for crosses, sweeper keeper. I personally think comes for crosses is much better, as it means that they'll generally win a lot more of the crosses. A lot of the time I find when someone crosses the ball and I don't have it in, my keeper just kind of stands there, watches it go over his head, and then some striker taps it in at the back post and I have nothing to do. Whereas if they're on comes for crosses, generally speaking, they try and win the ball. And then also I do have him on sweeper keeper as well, just to make sure if our opponent plays any through balls or anything like that, he's available to intercept those passes and sweep the ball up. So yeah, guys, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please drop a like, drop a comment, smash that sub button, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.